In this video, I'm going to compare synthetic boots to leather boots and talk about the top 6 considerations you have to make when choosing between the two. In this video, I'm going to talk about synthetic boots versus leather boots and the 6 factors that you need to consider when you're looking at these different types of boots. Now, I've done a lot of hiking and trekking and exploring. I've gone to the South Pole and everywhere else. My name's Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer. But I want to tell you about the differences between the two because so often people just have a tough time deciding, well, leather boots are better, they're more classic, but synthetic is better because it's this and that. Well, I'm going to give you the lowdown. The very first thing that you have to consider is weight. Leather boots are heavy. These things, yeah, they're really heavy. Compare that to synthetic boots, they're actually quite light. Now, if you look at these two boots, of course, this is a mid-weight versus a full height type boot, not a, like a full ankle wrap or a military boot. But the leather boots tend to be much, much heavier than synthetic boots. Now, the old adage is that 1 extra pound on your feet equals about 5 pounds on your back. And I saw an analysis by the U.S. Army recently that actually seemed to prove that based on fatigue factors and other things, that is about true. So when you have to compare synthetic versus leather, synthetic definitely wins out because of the weight competition. It's just a huge thing. When you put ankle weights on and you go hiking, you think, man, I'm so tired, my hips hurt, I'm just dying. And that's probably because you have very heavy boots on. There are a couple other considerations to think about when you got to do those things though. And the first, and choose between those things, and the second thing is breathability. Now, these boots are Gore-Tex lined, waterproof. I put my waterproofing on them, my Nix wax, my Open-Offs. I go pretty crazy on them. These boots, well, they have a mesh liner. They've got a little suede just to hold it together, but that doesn't really matter there. So breathability can be a huge factor because if you're in a hot location, say you're hiking through the Sierras in the middle of the summer, your feet are getting sweaty, you're starting to get hot spots, and you've got your leather boots on, you've got nowhere to go. You're in real trouble because leather boots tend not to be breathable. Now, you might argue, actually, leather is naturally breathable. Gore-Tex is breathable. Absolutely. However, just the nature of leather boots means that your foot is fully enveloped and protected, but it's gonna sweat. It's going to get hot. Now, you might say, oh, that's terrible. I should choose a synthetic boot because this thing is crazy breathable. I so rarely ever get moist socks or moist liners in here. The liners in these boots are moist pretty much all the time. But consider that when I went to Greenland, I actually used these Vask boots to hike over 100 miles on my expedition from the ice cap to the coast of Antarctica to Greenland, and I used these boots. Breathability didn't matter there because it was minus 20, it was plus 40, it was rainy, blizzarding, it was going crazy. If I'd worn these in the knee-deep and thigh-deep snow, I definitely would be less of fewer toes than I am right now. But these leather boots definitely got the job done because they're very nice for hiking, and even though it was cold, I was pushing it really hard, so I didn't need double boots or mountaineering boots or anything. These did a really good job. The next consideration that leads on to that is temperature. What sort of temperatures are you going to be facing on your hiking, your backpacking, or whatever? If it's really, really chilly, you might actually have to get the leather boots because the breathability of the synthetic is just going to be a problem. I've worn these in 0 degrees and I've doubled up my socks in Wyoming and my toes were still chilly. I put these things on with a single layer of basic smart wool hiker socks. It takes a lot to get these boots cold. Now, that said, I've been in minus 20, minus 25 in these boots, waking up, and I couldn't get warm. Oh boy, my feet were numb for a month. I didn't lose any toes, didn't do any permanent damage, but these, when it gets minus 20, probably aren't the best choice. So anything in the summer 3 season, the synthetic boots are a great choice. Once you go past that, you're just going to have to buck up. Now, that's the factor that you have to consider too, is overall weather. Is it going to be constantly rainy, hail, sleet, freezing, wind, all these factors? Because just as it is out here and right now in Breezy, it can be a big thing when you've got these on and it's cold and it's rainy and you're walking through the sog. You can start to develop blisters with synthetic boots because generally, unless they're Gore-Tex lined, they're not waterproof. My good heavy-duty leather boots, yeah, no problem. Now, this is where the other factor comes in with the weather, is water crossings. Are you expecting to run into any water crossings? Because if you get your leather boots wet, compared to your synthetics, the leather boots need to be dried properly. Otherwise, the leather will start to dry and crack and get ruined pretty quick. Versus synthetic boots, they just keep cruising. So synthetic boots definitely have an advantage when you're in cruddy weather, down to the point where it's not snowing. So that's a real tough call, because what are the two that you have to figure out is, okay, how bad's the weather going to be? On Kilimanjaro, I use these guys on the summit push, but on the rest of the hike, I use these. It wasn't too bad. And then the question of number 6 is how to maintain them and stay dry and warm and protect your feet. So maintenance on these guys, because they've got a little bit of suede, it still takes a lot of effort. But these, like completely synthetic boots, just brush them off and they're good. Leather boots require effort. Open offs, nicks, wax, seam, seal, all these other things. So that's a consideration. But also, how rough is the terrain you're going to be in? If you expect to be up in chipped rocks and wrecked terrain and all that sort of stuff, a leather boot, even though it may be uncomfortable and warm, may be the only choice, because I've hiked in really rough terrain in my Merrill Moab ventilators and walked past sharp rocks and just shredded my feet. Now, I didn't get cut, but I got so dinged up and banged up, it was really unpleasant. These, yeah, I mean, they've taken some scuffs and scratches, but the Vast did very well. So the terrain and how are you going to be able to maintain your boots, that is the 6th factor in this video. So I hope you found this video useful, comparing the synthetic boots to the leather boots and all the different factors that you have to consider when choosing them for the terrain, the travel, the weather, the conditions, the water crossing, the temperature, and all those things. My name is Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and professional adventurer. Please like and comment on my video, and if you found it useful, subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching, and enjoy your hiking.